Hey everybody, Alex with Asset Panda here, and today we're going to be going through a brief overview of the Asset Panda application. The goal of this video is to introduce somebody to the system who's never seen it before, get them familiar with the core concepts, and hopefully get the gears turning for some deeper discussion with your Asset Panda representative, focused more on your specific questions and use case needs. In this video, we'll go over the basics of the layout of the software, how it operates, what it can do, both from the web, which is what you're looking at right now, and the mobile side of things using my iPhone here in just a couple minutes. So, without further ado, what we're looking at is the main web interface for Asset Panda here. The layout is very simple and straightforward. You've got your menu bar across the top here for navigation, as well as all of the records down below. So each of these guys up here at the top is considered a group. So assets group, employees group, locations group, etc. You can have up to 10 of these, and down below you'll have all the records within that group. So in my case, I'm looking at my assets. This is a list of all the assets that I have in the system. Now from this main layout page, I can easily search the database based on any keyword or phrase by coming up to this search icon. So I could come up here and type in iPad, for example, and the software is going to automatically filter down to just the list of 14 iPads that I have in my demo database. I could also choose to group or filter this data based on specific groupings that I've chosen. This is most commonly going to be around things like the location of the item. Where are my 14 iPads currently located? Or I could do it based on assignment. If I've been assigning items out to individuals, I can easily see who has my iPads. And I can expand here to see these are the 4 iPads that Chewbacca has, for example. Now, once we dive into a specific item record, like this iPad here, we'll get the full profile for this device. Every single field that you're looking at on the screen here is a custom field. So nothing here is hard-coded. You can add, you can delete, and you can even make those fields item type specific. So right now, this asset is a mobile device, but I also have my awesome motorcycle pulled up here, and it's a vehicle. So you'll notice at the bottom of the page, since I've specified vehicle for this item, I need to input information about when is the inspection due, when do I need to have the oil changed, what's the license plate number, things of that nature. If I swap back to the iPad, that information isn't really relevant, so those fields don't populate here. It's very easy to set up and customize these fields within the Asset Panda application itself. We'll take a quick dip into the configuration tool, and I'll show you an example of how that works. So when I jump over here, this is basically like popping the hood on your car. We're getting down into the engine of Asset Panda, and we're going to be able to manipulate our fields from here. So what we're looking at is a list of all of the fields that we were just taking a glance at from the back end of the system. So my asset ID, my type, etc. And if I wanted to add a new field, I could pop up here, hit add new field, and I could just say I want to track the color of my iPads, as an example. I have a lot of field types that I could choose from, currency, dates, text, numeric, etc. But I'm going to make this a list field, basically a drop-down menu, and I'm going to say we have white, black, gray, and gold iPads. I could select a default value if I'd like, and I've got a few other options here. Do I want the field to be required? Do I want it to carry over if I copy a record? Things like that. And I'm also going to say this field should only populate if the item has been tagged as a mobile device. So if I'm working with my awesome motorcycle, per the earlier example, I'm not going to see this field. So now that I've added that to the system, I can pop back over to my iPad, I'll refresh here, and we'll see a brand new field down there at the bottom for that iPad color. And I could just click into it and say, well, this is a white iPad, and we'll save that change. So one of the biggest, attractions to the software here is the fact that when we say it's highly customizable and configurable, we don't mean it in the traditional sense where you have to go back and do a lot of custom programming and pay a developer and all that. You can make these changes right within the application itself in a matter of seconds or minutes, as you just saw. One other thing to mention on these fields is that you can set up notifications and reminders. So very commonly, a lot of our clients will track things like warranty expirations, service due dates for maintenance and whatnot, as well as end-of-life dates. So if we're wanting to capture a report, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, a report of all items with upcoming end of life over the next 90, 180 days, etc., we can do that and see all of those items and their potential replacement cost, which is great for budgeting, forecasting, and things of that nature. Now, in addition to all the fields, we also have another very important part of the software here, and that's called actions. That's kind of my personal favorite part of the system. And the reason for that is it's another way that you can get very creative and unlock a lot of different workflows within the system. Now, ultimately, what actions are customizable forms that allow you to update the record and save the history of any changes that you've made to the device or asset during its lifetime with Asset Panda. Common examples of this include things like checkout and check-in, setting up reservations, requesting items, damage reports with photo attachments, as well as any kind of repair tracking, maintenance, even just transferring it from one person to another without necessarily having to check it back in. That's a pretty common one as well. And then simple things like moving the item from one location to another. So let's go through a checkout. Right now, this item is currently available. It's not assigned to anyone. So I can hit this checkout button here, and I'll get a form that pops up that's going to ask me for a little bit of information. So I'll say, who is this item being checked out to? I'll check it out to Chewbacca here. And we'll say, when is this item due back? I'll say he's got it till the end of the month. And then we can put the condition in at the time of checkout. Hey, you're getting a brand new iPad, as well as any additional notes you might want to add. We can also do digital signature capture. Now, I cannot sign with a mouse to save my life, so I'm just going to scribble here. But on the touch screen for the iOS and Android app, it's a lot easier to use your finger or stylus. You can also upload a photo at time of checkout. So if you want to capture the condition visually of the item, you can certainly do that as well. Now, once I save and close and complete this action, a couple things are going to happen. The item status will flip from available to checked out, and the assigned to now has Chewbacca's name in it. In addition, I can go over here on the left side to my actions and see the history of not only that current checkout that we just performed, but every other checkout that we've ever had done to this item. I can also thumb through and look at the history of any other actions that I've taken on this device. So I can see every single time we reported damage for it. I could also see every single time we've simply moved the asset from one location to another. And this information lives in the record indefinitely. There's no time that Asset Panda is ever going to dump this information out, so you know it's going to be secure and easily accessible for you. Now, one other thing to touch on while we're on the actions is the idea of creating brand new actions from scratch. I have this monthly forklift inspection form in here as an example. It's something I actually built out for a client a little while back. They were doing this on pen and paper, and basically just sent me a photo of that form, and we were able to map it into a brand new action in Asset Panda. So you can literally from scratch build these out to address any kind of use case or workflow that you're doing in a manual process that you'd like to digitize and store in one place. So in this example, they've got checkboxes for leaks and damage and drop downs for condition, logging hours, any action taken, approvals, and that signature pad down at the bottom. So that's pretty much it for actions. On this left side, there's one other thing that I do want to make sure we highlight on this video. Again, this is a basic overview. We're not going to cover every little detail, but something else that's popular is the attachments tab here. Now, with Asset Panda, you get unlimited attachments when it comes to images, videos, and documentation. Most of our clients are using this to track the condition of the item, the location of the item, and things of that nature. You can also upload short videos as well as documentation all in one place, and this will load right on the app or in the browser as you see here. And with that being said, let's take a moment to actually take a look at the mobile interface. What does this look like if I'm using it on my phone or my tablet? And I'm going to very quickly check this item back in here, and we are going to do that checkout process from my phone utilizing the barcode scanner. So what we've got right here, I'm kind of putting it in the middle of the screen, is the app running on my iPhone. Again, we have an Android app, it runs on phone and tablet, doesn't matter. But you'll see right away it's a very similar layout. I have my menu bar on the left, and if I swipe to the right, I get my list of assets. Now I can scroll through here, I can do searching and filtering just like I could on the web, but more commonly what folks are going to do is tap that barcode icon at the top right, which will activate the camera as the scanner. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So you can see as soon as that barcode gets hit, it captures it and says, oh, that's the iPad. That's exactly the same item that we've been playing with so far. And I can click to open up, or tap rather, to open it up and see all the details around this device. I have my photo gallery across the top. I can tap the camera icon there to take new pictures, and I can scroll through here to see all the different fields. Now, if you're tracking a lot of information about your assets, 50, 100 fields and whatnot, you could also type in here, and it'll take you to the field that you're looking for and give it a nice highlight. Now, from there, I also have the ability to tap these three buttons at the bottom here. Get that search bar out of the way. There we go. Tap those three buttons at the bottom there to get to my workflow or my other attachments. So from here, I can hit the checkout button. I get the exact same form that we were just looking at. Tap on the employee. We're going to check this one out to me this time. And then I can set a due date if I'd like to. We'll go back to the end of the month. Reference the condition at time of checkout. And then tap for that signature. Still not perfect, but a lot better than on the web. We'll save that, and that will complete that transaction and check that check that asset out. Now, since Asset Panda is 100% cloud hosted, I just did that on the app. If I refresh the web, you'll notice that that has now been updated as well. So you can see that checked out there. Now, one last thing on the mobile side, you are able to scan just about any barcode or QR code out there. So while you can generate and print barcodes through Asset Panda or use existing barcodes that are in place, it doesn't really matter to us. We work fine with just about any code out there, so you've got a lot of flexibility. You can also add new items from the mobile app as well. So if we back up to that main page here, I could tap at the bottom right there, hit that Add Asset button, and add that into the system that way. All right, let's get back over to the website. And kind of the last thing that we're going to go over on this basic general overview is the reporting side of the system. Talk about how the reports work, how we put them together, and what our options are there. Now, the reports are, as you can probably imagine by this point, 100% configurable. So there's no limit to the number of reports that you can create. You will, of course, have some out-of-the-box reports with a new Asset Panda account, but you can expand on those either by cloning them and editing certain variables, or by building brand new reports from scratch. So for this example, we're going to use an assets by employee report. I want to know what I have and who has it. So from there, what we can do is we can jump into assets by employee, and we're going to edit this guy. You can also automate these reports as well. So if you need to get certain information on a schedule, daily, weekly, monthly, etc., you can easily do that and just set these up to be kind of fire and forget. They just get delivered via email. So we'll jump in here, and the way we put these reports together is we give it a name, we choose an output type, we do support PDF, CSV, or Excel. I'll leave it in PDF, so it's a little prettier, but if you want to take the data offline and manipulate it in any way, Excel is obviously the way to go. And then down here, I have a few options. Do I want to display my company logo on the report? Would I like to see the default image on the report? And then all of my filters here. So in this case, I want to see assets by employee. It makes sense that I'm only going to filter to the checked out status. I don't want to see available stuff because it's not assigned to anyone. I could apply as many filters as I'd like, but we'll keep it at checked out for now. And then down here, all of my assets are in this box on the left, all my asset fields rather, and all the fields that I'd like to see are on the box on the right. So if I want to, I can X out any of these fields to take them off the report. Likewise, I could grab any field that I want, drag and drop it to add it onto the report. And then at the very bottom here, I'm just going to select my grouping. How do I want this data to be grouped together? It's a checkout report. I want to see it based on who it's assigned to. So we'll save those changes, preview that report, and we'll get an output that is probably what you would expect. Everything Alex has, everything Chewbacca has, everything Han Solo has, etc. Right here with all the fields that I've chosen as those individual columns. In PDF format, you will get subtotals based on currency and numeric values as well. So that's just one example of what you can do with the reporting. There's a lot of other common reports folks use, assets by age, by location, upcoming maintenance, you name it. The sky is kind of the limit through the custom fields and the custom filters. So that's going to wrap it up for this basic overview of the software. Hopefully this answered a lot of your preliminary questions, gave you a lot more to think about. And yeah, definitely reach out to your Asset Panda account representative, and we'll be happy to have a deeper discussion with you. And thanks for watching.